Today we will be talking about composite functions. Hoy vamos a hablar sobre composite functions. What is a composite function? A composite function is whenever we have to do a plus, minus, multiply or divide, addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division for two or more functions at the same time. So, ¿qué es un composite function? Un composite function es cuando necesitamos usar dos o más funciones para tener una nueva función. Vamos a usar más, menos, multiplicación y división. So let's go ahead and get started. Question 1. I have f of g of -3. So parenthesis, you're not going to say, you're going to say of. So f of g of -3. ¿Cómo podemos decir eso? Eso es f de g de -3. En inglés, f of g of -3. We're not going to say the parentheses. No vamos a decir los paréntesis. Parentheses are of. Los paréntesis son of. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that on my paper. Question 1, we have f of g of -3, and then I have those closed parentheses. You always start from the inside and you go out. Siempre comenzamos adentro y vamos para afuera, okay? So inside, then out. So I'm going to go ahead and write that out. Inside to outside. Adentro y luego afuera. Okay, so inside and you go out. All right, so the inside, what is inside? ¿Qué está adentro? What is inside? The g of -3 is inside, so we will do that first, and then we will do the f. ¿Qué está adentro? El g of -3, y luego vamos a hacer el f. So primero el g, porque está adentro, y luego el f. Okay, so part 1, I'll put here part 1, parte 1. We're going to do g of -3. Okay, so let me go ahead and just kind of show you this real quick. So this is number 1. And then after, y luego, number 2. Like that, así. Okay, so g. So take a look over here at the instructions. So I have f of x is 2x minus 1, g of x is 3x, and h of x is x squared plus 1. I want g. Quiero la g. So here is g. Aquí está la g. So I'm going to use this one. Voy a usar esta. This is the g. So I'm going to go ahead and do g of x equals 3x. I'm going to go ahead and copy that. Now, what I'm going to do is, instead of x, I'm going to put -3. En lugar de x, voy a poner el -3. So in all of the x's, en todos los x. So I have an x here, tengo un x aquí, and here, y aquí. And always in parentheses, siempre los números en paréntesis. Okay, so g, paréntesis, no x, -3, paréntesis, equal 3, no x, paréntesis, -3, paréntesis. This part you copy, esta parte copy, equals, and then you're going to put that in the calculator. Vamos a poner en calculadora. 3 times -3, 3 por -3 is -9, es -9. So that is part 1, es parte 1. That's the blue part, está la parte azul. Now, the green part, part 2. Ahora, la parte verde, el parte 2. So, part 2, I'm going to do the F now. El F, paréntesis, what is G of -3? ¿Qué es el G de -3? It's -9. That is the answer. So, I'm going to go ahead and take that, this part, and I'm going to go ahead and put that here. So my answer, I'm going to use my answer. Voy a usar la respuesta. So f of -9. Now I need to see what is the equation for x. What is the function for x? ¿Cuál es la función de f? What is the function of f? F is right over here. It's 2x minus 1. So f of x equals Here it is, 2x minus 1. And again, I'm going to replace the x. Otra vez voy a reemplazar la x. And I will put my number -9, right? So f of -9, parenthesis, equals 2, no x, parenthesis, -9, parenthesis, minus 1. Go ahead and copy f of -9, parenthesis, equals this part. You're going to go ahead and put that in the calculator, or you can do it in your head if you know how to do it. So I'm going to go ahead and put 2, parenthesis, -9, parenthesis, minus 1, enter, and I get -19. Okay, this is my final answer. -19 is my final answer. This is it. -19. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put that as my answer here for question 1. There it is. Let's go ahead and do question 2. Okay, same thing. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that there. So question 2 is f of h of 7. F of h of 7. Okay, so remember, how do we start? ¿Cómo comenzamos? Do we start inside or do we start outside? ¿Comenzamos adentro o afuera? Okay, we start inside. Comenzamos adentro. Okay, so what is inside? ¿Qué está adentro? What is inside? H of 7 is inside, so we're going to do that first. And then second, y luego segundo, the F, la F. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with the H of 7 as my part 1. So H of 7. Okay, now we need to find what is the function of H. What is the equation for the H? Here it is. Aquí está. Here's H, H. Copy it. So H of x equals x squared plus 1. Let's do the math. Okay, so remember, I'm going to replace the x's. Voy a reemplazar todos los x with 7 con la 7. So h, parenthesis, no x, 7, parenthesis, equals, parenthesis, 7, parenthesis, squared, plus 1. So everything copy, todo copy, except the x. Replace the x's with 7. Excepto los x, necesitamos reemplazar los x con 7. Okay, so copy h of 7 equals, and let's go ahead and put that in the calculator. Vamos a poner en calculadora. If you can do in your head, that's even better. Si pueden hacer en su mente, es mejor. So let's go ahead and do parenthesis, 7, parenthesis, squared, plus 1, and you're going to get 50. There we go. Now part 2, ahora parte 2, that's the F, afuera, outside. So F, okay, parenthesis, what number do I put inside? ¿Cuál número pongo adentro? The 50, right? La 50. Okay, and we're going to find the F. Necesitamos encontrar la F. Where's the F? Here it is. Aquí está. Copy. So F of x equals 2x minus 1. Copy that down. We're going to replace all of the x's. Vamos a reemplazar todos los x with 50 con 50. Okay, so copy F, parenthesis, no x, 50, parenthesis equals 2, no x, parenthesis 50, parenthesis minus 1. Copy F of 50 equals 2 times 50 is 100, minus 1 is 99. So my answer is 99. So I'm going to go ahead and put that here. Let's go ahead and do question 3. I'm going to go ahead and copy it. So G of H of 24. Okay, so so this looks a little different. Se mira un poquito diferente. But let me show you. This is actually the same thing. Es la misma cosa. So I'm going to rewrite it. Voy a escribir como antes. I'm going to write it like before. G, this is like a parenthesis. H, parenthesis, 24. And then the double parenthesis, right? To open, to close. Dos abiertos, dos cerrados. Okay, so this is G of H of 24. Okay, so this is the same thing. Es la misma cosa. So G, parenthesis, H, parenthesis, 24. Let's go ahead and do that one again. So we're going to start inside and go outside. Vamos a comenzar adentro y luego vamos afuera. This is 1, 2. So part 1. H of 24. Okay, let's find our H. Vamos a encontrar nuestro H. H is right over here. We're going to go ahead and copy it. H of X equals X squared plus 1. We're going to replace the X's. Vamos a reemplazarlo todos los X. Place the X's with 24 con 24. So H parenthesis 24 parenthesis equals parenthesis 24 parenthesis squared plus 1. So we're going to go ahead and copy H of 24 equals, put that in the calculator. What is 24 squared plus 1? 24 cuadrado más 1. So parenthesis 24 parenthesis squared plus 1 is 577. Okay. Now part 2. Parte 2. Part 2 is the G, es la G. Let's find our equation for that. G of X is 3X. Let's go ahead and replace the X's. Vamos a reemplazar todos los X. So what number do I need to replace? ¿Con cuál número? 577. So 577, replace the X's with 577. So G, parenthesis, 577, parenthesis, equals 3, parenthesis, 577. Copy G of 577 equals, let's put that in the calculator. What is 3 times 3 por 577? It's 1,731. So this is the final answer right over here. Let's go ahead and write that down. Okay, so 1,731. Put a comma. Okay, let's go ahead and do number 4. So this is number 4, F of G of H of 2. So how many parts here? ¿Cuántas partes aquí? Let's take a look. Vamos a ver. It's inside to outside, right? Adentro y luego afuera. So here's the inside. This is 1. Then the G. And then the F. So you start H, then G, then F. Comenzamos con la H y luego la G y luego la última es la F. Okay? So let's go ahead and start with part 1, parte 1. H of 2. What is h? Let's find that equation. Vamos a encontrar esta ecuación. So that would be right over here. H of x equals x squared plus 1. There we go. And I'm going to replace all of my x's with my 2. Voy a reemplazar todos los x con la 2. So h parenthesis 2 parenthesis equals parenthesis 2 parenthesis squared plus 1. So copy h of 2 equals, put that in the calculator, or you can do it in your head, o pueden hacer en su mente. 2 squared, 2 cuadrados, that is 2 times 2, 2 por 2, 4, 4, 4 plus 1, 4 más 1, 5, 5. This is 5. Now part 2. Parte 2. Which part is part 2? ¿Cuál parte es parte 2? Right over here, the G, la G. So I'm going to do G of what? G de qué? G de qué? 5. 5. So I'm going to put that here. Let's find my equation for the G. Here is the G right over here. G of x equals 3x. So I'm going to go ahead and do G, parenthesis. So remember, we're going to change the x's. Vamos a cambiar todos los x with 5, con 5. 5, parenthesis, equals 3, parenthesis, 5, parenthesis. So no x, sin x, put the 5. Copy, G of 5 equals 3 times 5, 3 por 5, 15, 15. Okay, now let's go ahead and do the third part, la tercera parte, F. F. So part 3 is F of what? F de qué? Again, we're going to go ahead and do 15 here, right? Put that there. 15. What is F? The equation for F. ¿Cuál es la ecuación por F? That is right over here. Let me go ahead and copy. F of x equals 2x minus 1. Right over here. Again, we're going to go ahead and replace all of the x's. Vamos a reemplazar todos los x. With what number? ¿Con cuál número? 15, 15. So F, parenthesis, no x, 15, parenthesis, equals 2, no x, parenthesis, 15, parenthesis, minus 1. Okay, copy F of 15 equals, let's put that in the calculator. Vamos a poner en calculadora, or you can do it in your head, o pueden hacer en su mente. 2 times 15 is 30. 30 minus 1 is 29. 2 por 15 es 30. Y 30 menos 1 is 29. So 29 is my answer. This is my final answer there. 29. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and skip this one. We're going to go ahead and do number 6 here. Okay, if you feel like you want to practice, you can go ahead and try number 5 by yourself. You can pause and try if you want, but I'm going to go ahead and do number 6. Okay, so question 6 is G of F of H of negative 6. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Let's figure out the parts. What is part 1? Parte 1. Remember, inside to outside, adentro hasta afuera. So first, primero, is the H. Second, segundo, F. And then last, último, G. Hey. Okay, H first, F second, G last. H primero, F segundo, G último. Okay, let's go ahead and start with part 1. Part 1 is H of negative 6. Let's get the equation for that. So the equation for H is here. Copy, H of x equals x squared plus 1. And we're going to go ahead and replace the x's with the negative 6. Negative 6 here. So H, parenthesis, no x, negative 6, parenthesis, equals no x, parenthesis, negative 6, parenthesis, squared, plus 1. Copy h of negative 6 equals calculator, calculadora, or in your head, o en su mente. Negative 6 squared is negative 6 times negative 6. Negative 6 times negative 6 is 36. 36 plus 1 is 37. Negativo 6 cuadrado es negativo 6 por negativo 6. Negativo 6 por negativo 6 es 36. 36 más 1 es 37. Part 2. Part 2 is over here, the F, la F. So I'm going to do F of what number? ¿Cuál número? The answer, la respuesta. 37, 37. Let's go ahead and find what is F. Vamos a encontrar la ecuación de F. The equation for F is right over here. F of x equals 2x minus 1. Replace, reemplazar. Reemplace x with 37 con 37. So F, parenthesis, no x, 37, parenthesis, equals 2, no x, 37 in parentheses, minus 1. F of 37 equals, let's put that in the calculadora. Or in your head, o en su mente. 2, parenthesis, 37, parenthesis, minus 1. And I get 73, 73. Last part, última parte, part 3, is over here, G, the G. G of what? G de qué? 73, 73. Let's go ahead and find the equation for G. ¿Cuál es la ecuación por la G? It's over here. G of x is 3x. I'm going to replace the x. Voy a reemplazar la x. With 73, con 73. So G, parenthesis, 73, parenthesis, equals 3, no x, parenthesis, 73, parenthesis. Copy. G of 73 equals calculator. What is 3 times 73? ¿Qué es 3 por 73? 3, parenthesis, 73, parenthesis, 219. 219. That is my final answer. Es mi última respuesta. 219. Let's go ahead and write that one down. Okay. Let's go ahead and do number 7, la 7. That's a little different. Es un poquito diferente. Let's see how. Vamos a ver cómo. Okay, let me go ahead and write that down here. Question 7 is f of x plus 1. F de x más 1. So I'm using f. Estoy usando la f. Let's go ahead and find the equation for f. Vamos a encontrar la ecuación por f. Copy. F of x equals 2x minus 1. And again, otra vez, we will replace. Vamos a reemplazar x. With what? ¿Con qué? X plus 1. Con x más 1. All of it. Todo. Okay? So, copy f parenthesis x plus 1 parenthesis equals copy 2, no x, parenthesis x plus 1 parenthesis minus 1. Okay? Easy. Copy f parenthesis x plus 1 parenthesis equals. Now, what is this? You will have to multiply, right? Because paréntesis means multiply. Paréntesis significa multiplicación. Entonces necesito multiplicar. I have two parts inside the paréntesis. Tengo dos partes adentro de los paréntesis. So, I'm going to multiply 2 times x and 2 times 1. Voy a multiplicar 2 por x y 2 por 1. So, 2 times x and then 2 times 1. So, first, primero, 2 times x, 2 por x. What is 2 times x? ¿Qué es 2 por x? 2 times x is 2x. 2 por x es 2x. 2 times 1, 2 por 1. 2 times 1 is positive 2. 2 por 1 es positivo 2. That's it. So 2 times x, and then y luego 2 times 1. Copy minus 1. Okay, now I have 3 parts. Tengo 3 partes. 2x, positive 2, negative 1. Do I have like terms? ¿Tengo términos similares? Yes, I have like terms. So here, x, no x, no x. Aquí hay x, aquí no hay x, y aquí no hay x. ¿Cuáles son similares? Which ones are similar? X, no x, no x. No x. No x are similar. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy f of x plus 1, parenthesis, equals. This one is the only one with the x. Esta es la única con la x. So copy. Entonces copy. These are similar because they don't have an x. Estos son similares porque no tienen x. So, entonces, 2 minus 1, 2 menos 1. 2 minus 1 is positive 1. 2 menos 1 es positivo 1. And this is my final answer. 2x plus 1. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and write that here, 2x plus 1. Now we're going to go ahead and try number 8, g of 3a. Let's go ahead and try that one out. Question 8, pregunta 8. It's g of 3a. G de 3a. So let's get the equation, la ecuación. Here it is, aquí está. G of x equals 3x. Again, we will replace. Otra vez, vamos a reemplazar. What do I need to replace? ¿Qué necesito reemplazar? X. With what? ¿Con qué? 3a. 3a. Copy. G, parenthesis, no x, 3a, parenthesis, equals 3, no x, parenthesis, 3a. Okay? Copy. G of 3a equals, parenthesis means multiply, paréntesis significa multiplicación. So 3 times 3a, 3 por 3a. How do you do that? ¿Cómo podemos hacer eso? It's simply 3 times 3. Es simplemente 3 por 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 por 3 es 9. And copy the a. Y copy la a. So my answer is 9a. Mi respuesta es 9a. 9a. Simple. So 9a. So easy. Tan fácil. Now we will do question 9. Ahora la pregunta 9. Here it is. H of x minus 2. A little more complicated. Un poquito más complicado. But not too much. Pero no mucho. Okay? So I have h. Tengo h. Let's go ahead and get our equation. Here it is. H of x equals x squared plus 1. Replace the x's with x minus 2. Vamos a reemplazar los x's con x menos 2. So h parenthesis, no x, x minus 2, parenthesis equals no x, parenthesis x minus 2, parenthesis squared, cuadrado, plus 1. Okay. Let's go ahead and copy again h of x minus 2, parenthesis equals. So I have a squared here. Tengo un cuadrado aquí. What does that mean? What does the squared mean? This means that there's 2 of these. So I'm going to go ahead and write 2 of these. ¿Qué significa este cuadrado? Este cuadrado significa que tengo 2 de estos. Entonces voy a escribir esto 2 veces. So let's take a look. Parenthesis x minus 2, parenthesis, and again x minus 2. So I'm going to write this 2 times. Voy a escribir esta 2 veces. Like this. Copy plus 1. Y copy más 1. Copy h of x minus 2 equals. And we're going to go ahead and do the parentheses first. You always do parentheses first. Siempre los paréntesis están primeros. So we're going to multiply. Vamos a multiplicar. It's going to be 4 parts. Es 4 partes. So you're going to do first, primero, x times x, primero es x por x. X times x is x squared. X por x es x cuadrado. I have two x's, tengo dos x. And then luego, x times negative 2, x por negativo 2. X times negative 2 is negative 2x. X por negativo 2 es negativo 2x. And then here is, y luego aquí, negative 2 times x, negativo 2 por x. Negative 2 times x is negative 2x. And then last, negative 2 times negative 2. Y luego último, negativo 2 por negativo 2. Negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. So if you don't know how to do this part, I'm going to go ahead and put a link up here for the video on how to do this part. Si no sabes cómo hacer esta parte, voy a poner un link aquí y pueden hacer un clic para aprender cómo hacer esta parte. Okay, so if you don't know how to do this one, go ahead and click that link up there for the video for how to do this. And then we're going to copy plus 1. Y luego vamos a copiar más 1. Copy h of x minus 2, parenthesis equals. How many parts here? ¿Cuántas partes aquí? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now remember, the sign in the front is with the number. Okay, so this minus is with the 2, this minus is with the 2, this plus is with the 4, this plus is the 1. That is important. Okay, so make sure that your lines reflect that. Recuerdan que la señal que está enfrente del número está con este número. Entonces, este menos está con la 2, este menos está con la 2, este más está con la 4 y este más está con la 1. ¿Ok? Entonces, esta línea, ¿ok? Necesita estar así, ¿ok? El menos está con la 2 y esta línea necesita estar así, ¿ok? Es muy importante. So which ones are similar? ¿Cuáles son similares? Well, let's take a look. Here I have an x with a squared. Okay, that's the only x squared. Esta es la única con x cuadrado. Okay, so that's alone. This is x no exponent. Este es x sin exponente. This one too. Esta también. So they are similar. Son similares porque tienen x sin exponente. These are similar because it's x no exponent. This here is just a number with no letter, no variable, nothing, just a normal number. Este número es un número normal, sin variables, sin letras, sin exponente, nada. This one too, esta también, normal number, regular. So those are similar. So this is different, esta es diferente, copy, copy. These are similar, son similares, so I can add them together. Puedo sumar porque son similares, tienen x solamente. These are similar because they only have x, so I can add them. Negative 2 minus 2, negativo 2 menos 2 is negative 4, is negativo 4. Copy x. These are the same because they're just normal numbers. Esos son similares porque son números normales. So I'm going to add them. Voy a sumar 4 plus 1, 4 más 1. 4 plus 1 is positive 5, es positivo 5, plus 5. And there is my answer. Y ahí está mi respuesta. And I'm going to go ahead and write it down. It's the whole thing. Es todo eso. X squared minus 4x plus 5. Thanks for watching.